Well, good morning again, ladies and gentlemen, gents of all sizes and ages. Hey, we got a special shaving video this morning. You're used to seeing me shave with the old vintage razors that I like to shave with. This is the old grungy one. I'll be starting a Patreon campaign soon so you can help me clean this thing. Have it re-chromed. I don't think I'll actually do that. But if I do, I'll let you know. So, this morning is going to be a little special. Now, we all have to travel with our shaving kits every now and then. You know, I don't travel that much, a few times per year. I'm not a businessman in that way. I'm not a businessman. But when you do, you don't necessarily want to take your favorite razor along because it might get lost in the luggage or stolen, or I doubt this would get stolen. But you want to take maybe a razor that you don't care that much about, like one of these old ones. Doesn't matter if that gets stolen. Or you could get, you know, this is that one I reviewed on the last video. Maybe you could take that one. That would work suitably well on a trip. But back in the 60s, back in them old days, they actually made these, and I think they still do. Maybe there's some modern razor companies like Merkur and things like that that make travel razors. But I've got this vintage one. Actually, I'm not sure when it's from. It could be the late 60s, early 70s. And I'm going to shave with this vintage teeny tiny travel razor this morning. Look at this. I'm going to show you the size difference. So here's the package. So this fat boy Gillette is bigger than the entire package. So let's see how small the actual razor is inside. And this is kind of cool. See, it shows this is a razor. And you open it up and it's two little pieces and some vintage razor blades. See that? I'm not going to use the vintage Gillette Super Stainless today. I'm going to use this little tiny Gillette travel razor. Let me take it out of the package here for you. And it's a three-piece razor, which means that there is the cap, the blade guard, and then the handle, and you got to screw them all together to make one teeny tiny little razor. So let's see what it's like to shave with this little bad boy. It's very light, like the handle feels like it's made out of aluminum instead of some sort of heavier metal. All right, now I usually like using butterfly razors where you just twist to open, but this one you got to put it on the old post. This is why I don't like three-piece razors, because I feel like I'm going to cut the dickens out of my finger. Okay, so we'll put the blade on like that, and then we'll put the blade guard on top of that. Make sure it's lined up and straight. You don't want to get a crooked blade sticking out of the razor, and then just screw that back on. And hold it by these ends when you tighten it. Don't hold it by the side to get that last little bit of tighten, or else you will be in a world of pain. So there you go. So there is the tiny travel razor. Look at that. It is small. Here it is next to my face. Let's see what it looks like in action. So I'm using a feather blade inside this little thing. Trying to show you. Actually, does it have a date code on it? It does. It does. It's P2. P2. So somebody look up P2 on the Gillette date codes and tell me what that means, because I forgot to before this video. I already took a shower, so I'm all clean. Put some hot water up on my face. I haven't shaved since yesterday. And I'm going to use the old, check this out, the old Barbasol, but this is Jurassic World version with pterodactyls flying on it. My 5-year-old picked that out for me. All right, let's go for it. The old vintage Gillette travel razor and the Barbasol, because I'm not going to bring, if I'm traveling, first of all, I'm probably not going to bring this razor. I'm just going to bring one of my normal vintage Gillette, but not my favorite one. I've got one from 1970 that I usually travel with because it was a good year, and I don't mind if it gets lost. I don't want to lose the fat boys though, because they're more valuable. Okay. And if you're going to travel, you're probably going to use something like, you know, some cheap shaving cream, or you might bring your brush and your, you know, your puck and everything like that. But I don't. I just bring a little miniature. I'll show you. Here's what I bring in my pack. Just buy these at Target or whatever. These little miniature ones, travel size. And I check my bag so they don't confiscate it. Here we go. Let's try this little tiny travel razor from Gillette with a feather blade inside. All right. It feels very light, as it should, but it's got a full-size head, of course, because it's got to hold the razor in it. hear that or not. Getting those whiskers off. I had someone ask me after my last video, do I have any favorite shaving creams or shaving soaps? And I don't really. I don't have any. I mean, I use the Barbasol almost on a daily basis, and I know all the shaving purists are like, oh, that goo in a can is terrible. And you're right, it's not great for your skin. It's full of, you know, weird chemicals and propellants and stuff, but I guess my skin isn't too sensitive, so it doesn't bother me that much. Anyway, he asked me if I had a favorite soap, shaving soap, and I guess that that verbena cube is my favorite for using with a brush. It's the one you've seen in other videos. It's not really a shaving puck. It was just a big cube of French olive oil soap. So it's like all natural, doesn't have any chemicals, but I don't always feel like working up a lather on your average weekday morning, you know, doing that whole shaving ritual. Sometimes I do. Depends on the day. So yeah, you know what, even though this little thing is so small, it doesn't register as being too small. So whenever the Gillette engineers thought this thing up and came out with it, P2, that's the date code on it. It was probably the late 60s, maybe early 70s. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen so you don't have to look it up yourself. All right, there we go. First pass with the travel razor. I'm going to do just my normal shave in the morning like I always do, which is 2 passes. But here's how I do a second pass. I just put a little bit of that Barbasol on, and I just get the parts that really need it, like my cheeks right here. Always have stubble, and right here at the end of my mustache. Look at that. Look at those mutton chops. You like that? And then underneath here, I don't do my chin again that much, or my lip, because I pretty much got it all. But these are the parts where when I rub my face afterward, I can feel it. And usually a second pass does it to my satisfaction. It doesn't take too long. And this time I go across the grain. On my cheeks, at least. This isn't a bad little razor. I got it off eBay for like 10 bucks. And like I said, I think the modern razor manufacturers still make them. I doubt they make them this small, though. Like, they may be a little bit lighter than their normal razor. And maybe a little bit smaller than the handle. But this one is super tiny. But it actually seems to work. This would be good for, well, I'd say travel on, carry on, but I mean, can you bring these little razor blades on a plane like that? The terrorists are truly one if we can't bring a razor on a plane and shave. All right, let's go against the grain up on my neck, as I always do. You can hear the stubble still being cut. This is a pretty good little razor, a little Gillette travel razor with its own little nifty faux leather naugahyde case with a razor on the outside, so you never forget what's in there. Are those my pills? No, that's your razor, honey. All right, almost done. Look at that. Kind of pull your skin a little bit. Now go, even though it's a really light razor, and normally when you use a safety razor, you have to use the weight of it. There we go, look at that. Daddy, teach me how to shave. No, go away. He's one of those old school guys. Tough, you know. All right, so let's get these last little hairs up under the nostril. And I think that's good enough. Yeah, pretty good. A little bit right there. I'll just take off just for the heck of it. And you can do that dry shaving if you've just, still got a little bit of that moisture on your skin from the shaving cream. Even though Barbasol isn't the best thing ever, it's still shaving cream. That's what it's there for. All right, yeah, that feels pretty good. Thank you, little travel razor. You done good. So I can put them back in this case. I'll clean them off, put them back in here. And maybe I should try one of these Gillette Super Stainless Steel vintage blades for another shave. What do you think? Okay, let me rinse my face off with cold water. I really need to try some other shaving soaps like Colonel Conk and George Trumper and all. There's so many different kinds. It's like, and they're expensive. So if you're like your average guy like me, and you don't have access to it necessarily, how do you know if you're going to like the smell of it? How do you know it's, you know, you spend $35 on a puck of soap and you don't like it? That kind of sucks. So maybe if you got a shaving emporium near you, or just a really good store, like some, here I'm going to use this Everyman Jack. Some people don't like this because it's too harsh for their skin, but like I said, my skin's not that sensitive. But there's a store here in town that sells a lot of shaving stuff, but also a lot of like women's fragrances. So I don't know if those kind of stores go hand in hand or not. There we go. That's it. Pretty good for if you're a businessman and you've got a meeting to go to in the morning and you've got yourself one of these little vintage, whoa, almost slipped out of my hand. You almost saw my finger fly off. Get yourself one of these little travel razors. Look on eBay. There's all different kinds from different eras. This is just one from a later era. Thank you for joining me again. And if you have any questions or comments or want to see anything in particular, or if you have a fancy new experimental razor or soap that you want me to try, leave a comment. Thanks for joining me again. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.